following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Handoff, Elliott plowing to the goal line. Barry, sacked by Lawrence. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison, Rob Phillips, and Kyle Yeomans.
It's an Overreaction Monday edition of Talkin Cowboys presented by Tostitos, the official chip and dip of the Dallas Cowboys. Here from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star in Frisco alongside Cowboys insider Rob Phillips, our resident Super Bowl champion Isaiah Stanback, and the great sultry voice of Heckma Harrison. I'm not supposed to say that one, right? I'm supposed to say professional football analyst Heckma Harrison.
Yes.
I'm Kyle Yeomans. How's it going, everybody?
Oh, that's good. What, P?
You were shaking your head right there.
I'm not going to do it today. Nope.
What?
Nope.
What's that?
Nope. You said Overreaction Monday.
Yeah.
And I just started going, nope, not going to overreact. Not
That's a
gonna
good
do it.
thing. And, you know, it's kind of a great place to be as Cowboys fans because we've gotten to sleep on it a little bit. We've gotten to kind of mellow out after the Thursday loss.
Marinate.
To the, that could be the other word you could use, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But you're right. Overreaction Monday is a thing around the NFL. We had Overreaction Friday. So this is a reflection Monday where we still look back at the Tampa Bay game, but now we get a chance to look ahead. And unfortunately for the Cowboys, there's a lot of bumps on the road coming ahead in the form of injuries and the form of suspensions, and we will get into all of that coming up here in a little bit. But let's start things off by taking a look back at the week one, just in general. Cowboys, rest of the NFL. Rob, what stuck out to you the most?
From the entire league?
Either one.
We talked about this on a text message last night. Like, what's the thing? Isaiah had a great idea. What now that it's marinating, you've had a weekend to marinate. What stands out in your mind about week one? And for me, it's defensively. How did they play? Was it good? Was it more like last year? You know, because I think if you want to tidy it up into a nice little narrative, you could say, it kind of felt like 2020. You know, offensively, they did a lot of good things. They scored some points. They piled up yards. Red zone wasn't great. Special teams did some okay things, had some mistakes there. And defensively, they gave up touchdowns, and they gave up a key drive at the end. But, going back and looking at it, I thought it was better. I thought it was definitely better than what we saw last year. You know, if you look at what they did in the second half of that game, yes, they gave up the field goal late, but Tampa Bay had 5 drives. It was a punt, touchdown, punt, fumble, field goal. That's better. That's better against a Tom Brady defense. So I'm more encouraged after spending the weekend marinating, as Isaiah would say.
After the weekend, man, not much has changed for me. I'm still concerned on the offensive side of the ball in terms of our ability to throw the ball downfield. I'm still concerned about Dak and his confidence in his shoulder, whether that's mental, whether that's physical. Either way, it had an effect over our ability to throw the ball down the field. So we got to figure that out because I don't believe that we'll be as successful as we'd like to be if we can't have those big plays over the top. And we have the receivers to do it. -1, obviously, right now. But we have to be able to have those big plays down the field. Defensively, I love the way we were flying around, but we have to be able to cover man. Because that's what's going to be asked of them. They're going to be asked to play man coverage. And we have another tall task coming up this week on the outside with some guys that are actually a little bit bigger overall. And then special teams, doggone it, man. We can't keep giving up returns like this. We have to get stout on that side of things. That's a third of the game. And I think if anybody never thought about it in that regard, I think people is probably more so in the forefront of their minds now. That is a very important aspect of the game. Don't just let it be something that you write off and think that your second stringers just go and play special teams. That is a very impactful portion, and it's something that we have to dominate if we want to be in position to win ball games.
Well, I mean, I got 4 good days of sleep and still woke up with the same worries. But some of them, I think, I've subsided a little bit. Really, it was good to see Trayvon Diggs actually dominate a top-tier wide receiver. And seeing him take those steps, I think everybody in Cowboys Nation can, kind of rest your head on the fact that we have that that's cornerback one. Now, will he travel? Will some of those things happen? Because, if you can do that in your defense, that really allows Quinn to be very creative with what he does. But Man, also Bones Fossil, the special team woes. I think that's one of those things that's going to come back to revisit and bite you again, because you're going to have to be able to cover special teams the way that Mickens was able to get them in favorable field position. I think that's you cannot do that. And Bones Fossil, as a coach, I think we've made so much of him and what he's done. I think you have to come back and revisit that, especially when the special teams group has the words that they have. But Kellen Moore's offense, I mean, after watching so much football this weekend, I just recognize that football is changing. It's a passing league. We watched NFL yesterday. Man, not a whole bunch of runs. I mean, the running backs. I'm talking about running backs.
The dogs of the league.
Yeah, it's being cut out, and there's just throwing it all over the park. And I think the Blue Eagles were the only team to actually have a running back with 25 plus rushes. And I could be wrong on that. I'm sure they're going to fact check me, but still, I just feel like the whole league is changing. And look, I do not doubt that Kellen Moore is going to end up being a head coach in the NFL or at some point. But just, man, I think if this offense was in a college, it would be explosive. I would want to play in this kind of offense because he's throwing it all over. But defensively, just the last thing is, look, they still put up 30 points. And it's kind of hard to say, look, there's marked improvements, but at the same time, there was 30 points put up against the defense. But there are some things that you can hang your hat on, and it's probably at the front line that you feel good about.
No, I completely agree with you. And by the way, in terms of rushing around the league in the AFC, there were only 3 100-yard rushers, and there are 3 guys that you wouldn't have expected: Joe Mixon, Melvin Gordon, and then Damian Harris. In the NFC, there were only 2, and that was Elijah Mitchell and David Montgomery. So not a lot of running backs had success week 1. So you're right. If that's what you're basing the success of this offense on, maybe think again. Yep. Don't necessarily think that's the case. But I want to kind of go back the other direction now. If you had to rank the 3 units, offense, defense, special teams, from last Thursday, what would you rank them 1 through 3?
1 through 3. That's tough.
I'll go if you want.
Sure.
I'll go offense, defense, special teams.
Okay.
Special teams, I think we've talked about it. Whole body of work last year, probably the best unit they had.
Yep.
But
sure.
On Thursday,
most consistent.
Most consistent. But on Thursday night, they gave up a big kickoff return, a couple penalties, and
multiple punt return.
Yeah, and Greg Zuerlein missed 2 big kicks, or an extra point and a field goal that cost him the game. So 3 kicks when you think about it. So 2 field goal attempts. So that was a tough night for the special teams.
Yeah, I agree with Rob P. That's exactly the order I was going to utilize. I think offense stepped up. Even though we didn't take advantage of some of the opportunities we had, we still were pretty consistent for the most part. We abandoned the run. We just talked about that. Defensively, these guys they're flying around. I think we talked about it last week in terms of us actually having a culture now. We have an identity. So that's something we've talked about extensively over the past summer. So that's encouraging to see. But again, we have to man up. We got to get in these guys' face and guard some dudes, and it's hard in this league. But guess what? That's what you got, and that's what you're paid to do. And then special teams. That's just effort. That's really just effort. I don't believe that Coach Fossil is drawing up plays that put us at a disadvantage on special teams.
No.
So it really just comes down to executing and understanding. It's film study, right? Understanding what are these teams trying to do. Now, obviously, week 1, it's kind of hard to do film study because you don't know what the heck they're going to do. But as a special teams player, you have to be high alert. You have to communicate. It takes a lot. Special teams is probably more demanding mentally than offense over defense, to be honest with you, because you have to be aware of so much. You have to be aware of the other guys around you, and there's schemes directly against you, depending if you're an impact player, tackler, disruptor, things of that nature. So there's a lot more moving parts, and you have to be a lot more versatile as a player if you're playing special teams.
And you have to also think about Noah Brown's absence.
Yeah,
and maybe that there wasn't don't want to magnify that, but again, it may have been something that made a difference on special teams as well. But 1, 2, and 3 being offense, defense, and special teams, I think just makes sense.
And you hope the kicking situation does not carry over.
No, I don't think so, man.
I don't think so either. But we've seen it here where it snowballs. If a guy has a bad game, but I don't know if they've had the last time they had a kicker this accomplished, it was Dan Bailey. And we saw it eventually with Dan Bailey. A lot of stuff's mental, but I'm chalking it up to rust.
Yeah, he came back and drilled one.
Yeah, the last kick was dead center. But Jerry on the Fan Friday was talking about how we probably were kidding ourselves to think that he's not going to kick basically all preseason until the last game. He gets one field goal attempt in there, and he was just going to beat Greg Zuerlein.
He all but admitted that was on the coaches. Pretty much. Jerry pretty much said
Just
everything.
Just a tiny bit without actually saying that. He totally said that.
And you're trusting John Fossil's relationship, the history coaching Greg Zuerlein. I don't think it's going to be a problem over the course, but I think they're playing a good team this Sunday. So you hope it doesn't come down to a kick or two here like it did on Thursday night.
But you've got to depend on this guy that if it does come down to a kick or two, that he can actually do it for you.
Yeah, I have full faith in him. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, before Thursday night, I tweeted this out on Friday, but him as the Cowboys kicker before Thursday, kicks inside 40 yards, he was 19 of 19. Kicks inside 50 yards, he was 31 of 32. So 6 of the 7 kicks he missed last year were beyond 50 yards, which are hit or miss regardless. Sure, you would like him to hit it because his nickname is Greg the Leg, but you want him to be more automatic. I mean, that was the problem prior to Greg Zuerlein, was the automatic side of things between 30 and 50 yards, that if you're in field goal range, quote-unquote field goal range, that you're going to make it. And he didn't do that on Thursday.
That was the Brett Maher thing.
Yeah.
If Brett Maher kicks from 55 2 years ago, you're like, man, that was a great kick. And then it's 35, and you're like, you're holding your breath. That's not Greg Zuerlein's history, so that's definitely a different situation.
I think we'll feel a little bit more comfortable about Greg Zuerlein than Brett Maher. So we've got a couple guys out. Which one do we want to start with? We want to start with the wide receiver or the offensive tackle? Because both of them are big. I think we're going to start with the offensive tackle. And we're going to go into we'll take this into the second segment as well. But Rob, Lyle Collins now suspended 5 games by the NFL for substance abuse. I guess infractions is the best way to say it there.
Violation of the policy.
There you go. So he is unable to return until after the Week 6 game against New England, correct?
He'll be ready to get back into everything the Monday after.
Goodness gracious. So out 5 weeks, you don't have your right tackle, who you didn't have all of 2020, and we saw exactly how that panned out. What's the biggest thing on your mind now about not having Lyle Collins?
Best 5?
It's kind of why I wanted to ask it that way.
Are we going basketball here? Like, how are they gonna address this thing? And I'm curious what you guys think, because I've kind of been saying it, but I don't know if Mike McCarthy's actually going to do what he finally did last year, and that's change out 2 spots.
Well, my question is, how soon did the team know that there was a suspension coming down? I mean, I think
sounds like they knew, right?
Right, and if they
just a little bit,
I don't think they were blindsided by it. And when you look at the 53, what they ultimately did. Maybe it wasn't a coincidence that they kept Ty Naseki and Terrence Steele. I didn't think much of it because Terrence Steele is kind of the developmental young guy, and Naseki's the experienced guy. But they did keep some extra depth there.
Yeah, I mean that's my thing about Lael is when did they find out, and were there any additional moves on the table to cover the team? Ty Naseki in the preseason has just looked slow to me. But he's a little bit better than Steele, and that's really not saying a whole lot when you say that. But you think about Dak and his development and what he did last week, and going into this game this week. Well, you got a Bosa brother on the other side of you that's going to become, and you're going. Well, I think the one thing you have to do is get him help, right? But you know that this guy is going to be directly in Dak's vision. So how do they make that work? And when you talk about best 5, I felt like the offense got flowing so much better in the running game once we converted Zach Martin out to tackle. But based off of everything that I'm hearing, Zach doesn't want to go out to tackle. So, which would be, I guess, after seeing McGovern last week, you would think, okay, put McGovern at right tackle, McGovern at right guard, and Zach out to right tackle. Just to see how these things develop, because obviously if you get down by too much in this second game, or it carries over to the next week versus Philadelphia, you're going to have to make some moves to shore up the offensive line, because right now I don't think there's a lot of confidence there.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I almost want to say, hey, let's just use Martin as you would use a corner, right? So just the same way we're saying, hey, Trayvon, you might have to follow the best receiver around.
Yeah.
Zach, we might have to put you at guard one day and put you at right tackle the next. just based upon the biggest threat. And obviously going into this week, the biggest threat is doggone the Bosa boy.
Yeah.
Right? And he already has a sack and a forced fumble. So we might want to consider putting him out there, even though that's not really where he wants to be. We know he's a team player. We know he's one of the best guards ever. But where do we need you most? And I think that's what we might have to do. That's the approach I would take, but my name's not Coach Philbin.
That's where I'm at, man. Like, and you say he's a team player. He'll do whatever needs to be done. But I get the hesitancy because there's no position that relies more on chemistry than the line, and so you're switching out 3 of the 5 spots. That chick takes some adjustments.
Off.
Yeah, it does. And I know somebody threw out to us in the mailbag today, why don't you put Connor Williams at right tackle and keep Zach at right guard, keep him happy, and then Connor McGovern, they've said, is much better, more comfortable at right guard. So the question is, did he play well enough to make you feel like, well, best 5, let's keep him in the lineup and kick Zach out to right tackle? Mike just seems hesitant publicly to do that. I mean, he said even Friday, like, I'd like to continue doing working with the guys we've been working at tackle. Yeah. So
I don't foresee us doing it. I think that's what we're all suggesting, and I think that's what we will all do. But I don't foresee us doing it, especially after this first game, seeing how much too tight we used. We used a lot of too tight, a lot of 12 personnel, and I think
we had to.
And I think we're going to have to again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think you're going to have to again. Yeah. Having a tight end, with his hand in the ground, and another tight end in the wing set, right in his hip pocket, just to kind of disturb, and disrupt what Bosa's going to try to do to us. I mean, because he's a beast. Even if Lyle was playing, he still would have had his hands full with doggone Bosa.
But I think you trust Lyle much more than you ever would.
Yeah, no, not even a question.
I'm saying that's obvious that I'm saying that. But also, I think it limits Ezekiel Elliott also in our offense again because he's going to have to stay at home. He's going to have to chip on Bosa or basically stay home to protect Dak. So.
From somebody who's been in contract negotiations and a locker room and switched positions back and forth, how much is it kind of a taboo thing to switch a position like that, even as simple as it is to say, hey, let's swing Zach Martin out the tackle? It's not that easy from a contract standpoint. I mean, Zach Martin, in terms of average salary per year, is the 4th highest paid guard in the league with $14 million a year.
Good point.
4th highest paid guard in the league. If he would have switched permanently to tackle and that would be the same contract, he'd be 21st in terms of highest paid tackles in the league. So you think about the contract disparity. You saw it with Peters in Philadelphia a couple years ago when he made the permanent switch to tackle. He said,
give my money.
Where's my money? I'm playing tackle now.
It's a more demanding role.
So I know it's for 5 weeks. And a lot of the times there's coaches having conversations and saying, hey, we need you to do what's best for the team. Sure. But with a guy like Zach Martin, with the pedigree that he has and the value that he obviously has for your organization, is it worth disgruntling him for that?
You know what? It's a great point. And maybe, just throwing out a big maybe, question mark.
Big maybe.
We did free up a lot of cap space here over the past few weeks. So being that they might have known this is coming down, being that you just brought that point up, maybe they created some space to be able to give him a little love tap because they knew that they might have to make this move. That's a big maybe. But there is money there should we have to, take care of him.
But you bring up a good point, Kyle, and just going from where he is pay scale wise to going out and you would now be the 21st guy. And this is a temporary situation. And just like Zach mentioned last week, we realized it was a temporary situation. So him coming back, we all were like, yes. And then we get the news of Lael. No, we don't want to have to deal with this week in and week out. I'm just speaking from a standpoint of once he did make the move to tackle, our running game seemed to flourish a little bit more. We were able to do a lot more with him in that position, as Terrence Steele just pretty much gave us no option with getting a tight end out and into coverage or doing any of that because he was so much of looked at as a liability. And you just, again, each and every week, there's going to be a guy across from him that's going to be bona fide. And it's going to limit, if we continue this, then it's going to limit our offense for the next 5 weeks.
I'm just curious, what's Lyle's base salary this year?
14.
And Zach's is how much?
Oh, sorry. I was saying Zach's. That was Zach's. I'll get to Lyle's here in a second.
So
Zach's got a bigger contract, right?
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably bigger than what Lyle's getting paid.
So, Heck, what would you do? Would you want your difference in pay?
Oh, Chris said it was 10 for Lyle.
Yeah,
so, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, well, if I'm taking on a larger role and everybody, I mean, obviously this is a league where everybody looks at how much I'm getting paid. The guy on another team is getting paid. Now you're going to move me out to tackle. I don't want to get paid like tackles. But obviously they're going to pitch it to him as a Band-Aid thing, and then there's an agent that's going to call and say, "Oh, can you pay for the Band-Aid?"
Playing with my money is like playing with my emotions, Smokey.
Yes, sir. Let me get that.
Man, I don't see that really, but the thing that stands out to me is like it's a sucky situation for Lyle Collins. I mean, he didn't play all of last year. He gets this neck stinger that costs him the end of training camp. He plays one game, and now he's coming back midseason. So it's like a year and a half of football by the time he comes back.
Do we have clarity on what actually happened? I'm hearing all kinds of things. I'm hearing that he did not take the test, and therefore he received this penalty.
Those are the reports.
Those are the reports, yeah.
The Cowboys, it's all confidential.
Yeah, of course.
And there's steps within the program that, as far as I know, but Mike McCarthy did not want to discuss it.
Yeah,
I mean,
he seemed like he was a little angry.
Yeah, he called it awkward timing, which is a great question. Like, did that mean they didn't know? And I think they knew something was coming.
They had to.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, you think of all the years that we've heard about Gregory, it's always, if there's something came down, it came down before the season. Mm-hmm. And so obviously we're going to miss Zach Martin. Thank God we didn't have to go without our whole right side. That would have been a complete disaster last week. But just my question is, how far in advance did they know, and was Lyle actually playing, and with Zach being out, did that factor into? I mean, stranger things have happened in the NFL, right? Did Jerry make a call? Jerry might have made a call. So,
I think you would have made a bigger call if you could have.
You got to make a call. You got to make a call and say, "Hey, look, man, y'all can't do it like this."
Just give me the first game.
Give me first.
Just give me the first game. Do what you want with them after this, but I need the dog in the first game.
I'm just saying. I mean, if the way that this happened is really kind of weird and awkward, so I think that's probably what's throwing Mike McCarthy off. And then there's all this stuff about him appealing it and lawyers being involved and all of that. So I don't think that they just found this out.
Yeah, and I'm sure we're probably not going to hear the end of it for quite some time either. I think it's going to be a little bit of time before this thing really goes away, and we'll see how it goes. But when we come back here on Talkin Cowboys, we are going to discuss how not only to replace Lyle Collins some more, but we're going to talk about Michael Gallup. What do we do without MG on the outside when we come back to Talkin Cowboys, presented by Tostitos?
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar, and a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man's Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Varilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Back here on Talkin Cowboys, where whether you're watching from home or you're cheering in the stands, with Essilor lenses, you can see every exciting play. Book an appointment at your local Essilor experts and see what Essilor can do for you. See more, do more, Essilor here on Talkin' Cowboys. As always, Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison, Rob Phillips. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Glad you're with us here on this early Monday morning. We are back and ready to go all week long.
Love it.
Drinking water out of a can.
So refreshing.
Once it hits your lips, it's so good.
Your mic is still way
I'm sorry,
there.
what was that again?
I was just talking to her up here. It's so good when it touches your lips.
The deja blue in a can.
In a can.
It actually is quite refreshing.
I'll do one.
Okay, so
I'll do one.
We've got a couple questions to answer here, and then we're going to take calls for the rest of the show. How's that sound, gentlemen?
All right. Yes, sir.
Yeah, taking some calls. Okay, so Michael Gallup out for what could be multiple weeks. Haven't actually had a designation on how long the injury was. There was reports out there that it was 3 to 5 weeks. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. Rob, can you clarify that?
I think that's pretty accurate,
Is it?
actually.
Okay.
It's going to be – I think he's a candidate for IR. I don't know if they're actually going to do it.
No, Rob. Why would you tell this to us?
God.
It's 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks. If they do it, he'd be back in 3 weeks minimum. So it's not for the season.
So you're saying that we're going to be without Gallup, Brown, and Turner.
Yeah. Well, Noah should be back maybe this week. Noah is back. He just was inactive last week. And I don't know that they're going to put Gallup on IR. I just think that's an option. If you feel like he's going to be out for a month, why not? Open up a roster spot.
And it was an ankle injury specified after the in the second half of that loss to Tampa Bay last week. So
hope he didn't have a split in his contract.
Yeah, I don't know if he did or not.
That's the stuff people don't know about. See, that's these new rules. They mess with guys' contracts. Because if you go on IR and you had a split in your contract, that means if you ever go on IR, you get a percentage of what your salary is.
That absolutely sucks.
Oh, it definitely sucks. So I know
messing with people's money.
Yeah, I know. I got put on IR like 1 week before the end of the season when I was one of my times here in Dallas, and they cut for my split. I think I was down to a 30% split, so 30% of what I was supposed to make. When you're on IR,
wow.
Oh yeah, so it's not just he just goes on IR for a minute, he'll be back. Guys are like, no, I can play. I can play. Hey, I'm okay.
You start hopping a little bit faster.
No, I got this. I'm ready to go, guys. Okay, but who is ready to go in terms of the wide receiver position, Isaiah? I mean,
Noah Brown, Noah Brown. I think that
not Cedric Wilson.
I mean, Sid Will's already playing. I mean, he played a lot last game. So, I mean, he's thrown in there. He's a number 3 right off the bat. But then Noah Brown comes in at number 4, and he helps you immediately on special teams. Simi Fehoko was active last week, but I think he only played on maybe 2 special teams. So, I think, as we talked about before, this is his working resume right now. This is his extended period for his preseason. I think they're seeing what he can do, and I think by the time Malik Turner's ready to come back, they're going to make a decision on, hey, Simi, have you done enough? So, I mean, I'm pretty sure he'll be active again, but he's going to have to make an impact and not just be a guy on special teams.
So you're saying this is giving him rope, basically.
Yeah.
This is the give you rope period.
Absolutely.
I love what you said, and I agree. I think a lot of people don't understand that this isn't just a 3 wide receiver thing here in Dallas. Moore uses everybody, and as you saw that with the way that he used Wilson. But I think Noah Brown impact, not only, like I said, special teams, but also on offense. I think he does a lot of good things in those intermediate routes, and I think Dak trusts him. And he's yes, and that's what Michael Gallup does also. People don't mention that he's a better blocker than a lot of guys. And so it's going to be impactful for this team to have to try and deal without MG. But I think that, man, this is that time that I wish Malik Turner was healthy because, man, he did so much in preseason, did so much in camp. But, again, you have veteran guys already here that's proven that they could do it. So Wilson, I think, is going to be the guy that really steps up.
If you want to think in a positive manner, only 4 receivers received any sort of snaps on Thursday, and that was the big 3, and then Cedric Wilson. Wilson went 3 targets, 3 receptions. So he was able to make the catch on all 3 times the ball was thrown his way for 24 yards on 27 snaps total. So that's a positive thing, as people are being used, you don't have to go further down the list than you have to.
That's a nice workload, though, for a number 4 receiver.
27
snaps.
Yeah.
And that's not including special team snaps.
That's a good point.
So, I mean, he probably had a 50-snap, 60-snap game. I mean, that's work.
Good work.
That's a great point because, he's a core guy on special. Didn't he hit a nice tackle on special teams?
Yeah, he did.
When you're a core guy, you're on kickoff return, punt, punt return. And that's what I'm talking about the point. I mean, you're in there. I don't care where you're at on there, but you're in there having an impact some way, somehow. That's what I'm talking about, like in terms of Semi. When I saw, I think it was punt. When I saw punt coverage, I didn't see him on punt. I was like, ooh, that's not good.
Cedric Wilson had 8 snaps on special teams as well.
Okay. So he was a 35 snap guy. That's a solid day now for number 4 receiver.
I was just looking up the stats last year for Noah Brown in the 5 games that he played with Dak, and then the 6 games for Cedric Wilson, counting last week. And Noah Brown was 7 of 8 catches for 80 yards, and Cedric was 15 of 20 for 190 and 2 touchdowns, both against Seattle. Like that is an underrated part of this offense. And I know people wanted to cut both guys.
Crazy.
Find space for them. That they have a nice rapport with Dak Prescott. Like I think Michael Gallup's a fantastic young receiver, but like I feel better about this situation than Lyle Collins being out for 5 games.
Agree.
In part because it may be less for Mike being out.
And then Noah, you can use at a lot more positions on offense. Not only is he can go in the slot, he can also play a little bit of tight end. And people don't like to hear that, but he can. He play a little bit of tight end
blocks and all that,
and definitely make some blocks that our tight ends didn't make. So
that's the other thing too, is that Kellen wants all the receivers to play every position, and Cedric Wilson can do that. I mean, when he first got here, that was the thing he kept telling me when I sat down with him one time, was I got to learn every position. And Mike didn't really play as many slot reps as maybe we thought he would based off of camp. I think he was mostly on the outside against Tampa Bay, but there's still that versatility there within the receiving core, within the unit. But are they snake bit though? My God, Friday after the game, it's like you can't even enjoy a moral victory. You felt like you're still feeling good.
Don't even say that word.
You're feeling good despite the loss.
There's only 16 more weeks to go, right?
No,
come on.
that's an eternity. Fine.
By the way,
it's tough, man. That's a tough double blow on Friday.
Before we go to the phone lines here, you talked about slot reps. Cedric Wilson had the most slot reps on the team on Thursday. Tied with that. Tied with Amari Cooper with 23. Michael Gallup only had 4 slot reps.
Yeah.
So that's actually kind of, you think about just the natural plug and play there. Throw CeeDee Lamb outside, who had 22 slot reps. Throw him outside. You got Cedric Wilson in the slot. You got some positivity there.
Interesting, because we had a lot of conversations about Gallup and what he needs to do to become more versatile, right? In terms of him being in the slot. And then all of a sudden, his first game out, they're like, you just stay out there. Cedric, come on in.
Well, I got to ask you, Amari Cooper, did he answer questions for you? Like your toughness, all of those things, route running. Like he took over the game on Thursday and left no doubt. I mean, we entertained the thought of who's the alpha dog in this strip. But Amari Cooper came out and just let it hang.
Yeah, no question. I mean, I think he put himself out there though, right? He walked his own plank. He said, I consider myself to be the best receiver in the league. Whoa. You say something like that?
Yeah.
You are on the you were walking the plank, right? So it means you got to back that thing up. And I think he put that pressure on himself intentionally.
13 receptions on 17 targets, 139 yards. He was just on another level on Thursday. All right, let's go ahead and go to the phone lines. The real Anthony from Florida on the line. What's on your mind?
Hey, guys. How y'all guys?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
Let's go. We're going to do it like this, man. Everybody knows that me calling the last 5 years to any show, I'm number one with Dak. Dak is my dude. So I'm extremely happy with what he did. Did I think he threw too much and they put him in positions? Yeah. I'm going to tell you why. Here we go. Jameis Winston. I think he had 20 attempts, 5 touchdowns. Russell Wilson, 23 attempts, 4 touchdowns. Let me tell you something. That one guy they keep leaving out of everything, saying he might have lost a step, this and that, if you don't find better ways to get Ezekiel Elliott that ball, and the ones who are saying Zeke ain't got it no more, lost the step, let Zeke go to another team. Let him do the DeMarcus Ware, because I guarantee you he'll go to a Pro Bowl in the next 2 or 3 years and probably win a Super Bowl. So get your man in the game. There's nothing wrong with throwing the ball, but 58 times, come on, man, let's focus on the run more. Let's find more opportunities to run the ball. And Dan Quinn, everything he's brought to this team is going to bring to this team with a few additions and then a few subtractions, probably next year a couple guys will be gone. I'm liking that. So I see the defense being able to help our team in the next 2 years or so. And the last point, please, Mike McCarthy, stop listening to Bones Foster. The dude has not done anything since he's got here. To me, Jeremiah's a good kicker. He missed a few. But don't let a guy who just missed 2 kicks talk you into giving Tom Brady the ball if you missed the 60-yarder on the 50-yard line. Come on, man, you take the morale of your team away. So Mike McCarthy got to have better coaching decisions. That's pretty much it, man. No Cowboys.
And that's my man. I feel you, man. I'm right there with you.
He said EA Sports. Get in the game.
Get in the game.
I like that a lot. Thanks so much for the call. And, yeah, he hit a lot of great points there that a lot of Cowboys fans, and I know the real Anthony is the realest Cowboys fan out there.
Oh, yeah.
But he hit a ton of points there that are just kind of rattling through the brain. He said about Dak Prescott throwing too much, which I can't disagree with. I know that was kind of a part of the game plan and what the defense gave them, as we talked about on Friday. But 5 of the 6 leading passers in Week 1 lost their games in Week 1. I mean, I know a lot of that has to do with throwing the ball late and trying to get back into a game and yada, yada, yada. But, I mean, you look at the numbers, and that's exactly what it says right there. So what did you guys take away from that call?
And I think the Jameis Winston, the analogy is kind of misleading because he only had 150 yards passing with 5 touchdowns, which is crazy.
That's efficiency.
It's efficient.
Yeah, it's just a crazy stat, though,
Yeah,
in itself. But, I think that's what we opened up with. I think that's just where the league is going. And I think for people that don't understand that mind state, it's kind of troubling. And we abandoned the run in the first quarter. We was tied 7-7, and we just quit.
Abort.
Abort. And a lot of times when people do that, when you see teams stop running, it's because they're behind by a lot. It was just the game plan. That's just what we were going to do. And obviously, if it was for the protection reasons, then okay, that makes sense. But goodness, we completely abandoned it.
Abandoned ship. I agree with him. I believe that we were. It was frustrating to me because we were running the ball effectively.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that we were when we went outside. Yeah. Now we knew not to even try to go inside. When you were going outside, we were getting the good yardage, and you saw the improvement from Zeke. You saw his explosiveness. So, yes, I agree. You have to find ways to get Zeke the ball, even if it comes at the expense of throwing another, a swing route or whatever it may be, swing screen. There's a lot of opportunities out there for screens. I don't know if anybody else saw that, but a lot of opportunities for swings just based upon leverage advantages and things of that nature. But, he's right. We got to get Zeke the ball, and everybody who wants to say that Zeke lost something, please. Zeke is going to break out one of these games, and everybody's going to be like, why haven't we been giving him the ball? Zeke the ball.
No, for sure. But see, we do that with Tony Pollard too. If he doesn't get enough touches, and they tried to work him in, and then now it's what you just said about the Zeke. It's like part of it is they have so many weapons, But I agree with you. 58 times it's too much, and it wasn't just a pure product of playing from behind. They had the lead or were within 2 points in the second half. I thought Zeke, you're right. I thought he looked great. He looked kind of that slippery, shifty Zeke we saw in preseason and limited snaps. But, yeah, maybe more screens, maybe more stuff on the outside. I don't disagree with the game plan. I think the matchups were the matchups on the outside, and their best bet was throwing. But you could get him more involved.
Do you guys have any friends that that if you hang out with this guy, he's going to get you in trouble? Mm-hmm. So you hang out a little bit less. Mm-hmm. Bones Fossil is that guy. I think Mike McCarthy.
That's why his name is Bones.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that when we come back on the other side of the break. You're listening to Talkin Cowboys, presented by Tostitos.
Bum, 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 bum.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with United Ag and Turf. Before you can park yourself in front of the game, park yourself in a John Deere and power through your chores. Our Land Run package is a 1025R, 25 horsepower tractor with a loader, rotary cutter, and a box blade for $229 a month. And the price you see is the price you'll pay. No surprises. So don't miss another kickoff.
Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com. Offer ends February 1st, 2021. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Now let's get to work.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Back here on Talkin' Cowboys, and make sure and be able to check out the Miller Lighthouse located outside AT&T Stadium, where Dallas Cowboys game day traditions are born. Enjoy yard games, Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, beer gardens, and more. For more information, you can visit attstadium.com/Miller Lighthouse. Miller Lighthouse, your tailgate just got jealous. Final 5 minutes here of Talkin' Cowboys on Overreaction Monday around the NFL. This is Reflection Monday for the Dallas Cowboys. As the Chargers are on the horizon. You chuckle a little bit there.
No, I like the reflection one. That's good.
It's different than overreaction.
Yeah, it's a little less like angry,
dramatic
sounding.
Sure,
And
we'll say it with our chest on Friday, and we'll do all of that. But yeah, I thought it would be a nice mellow show today after what we had Friday. You guys made an impact on Friday. I thought I should share that. It was fun.
I'm sorry.
For what?
Why would you be sorry?
The Harrison family has adopted Isaiah, and they feel because he's the giver of Christmas trees. All right,
that's true.
And so everybody loves Isaiah. In my
it was
house.
a nice Christmas tree.
It was a very you did not. Yes.
Should we bring that
Uncle
Christmas tree
Isaiah.
and put it in here?
Uncle Zay. Everybody knows Uncle Zay. And so when I said I didn't speak to Isaiah on Friday, my Kia says, "Daddy, you got to speak to Isaiah." I'm like, I spoke to
She
Isaiah.
watches the show.
Oh, boy.
I love Kia.
Boy,
She's
you better
the best.
believe that. Yes,
Oh
of
my
course.
gosh.
We watch the show.
Dad, you got to speak to us.
Gotta speak to Isaiah. So.
My Christmas tree.
You gotta get Christmas trees.
I need to pick one for my room.
We'll get you one, baby. We'll get you one this year.
There you go. Shout out to Kia and the entire Harrison family. Goodness, that's awesome. Okay, final 3 minutes. Bones Fossil, you were making a point about him prior to the break. You want to elaborate on it a little?
No, I just think that, we talked about it last week. You guys didn't think that the field goal at the end of the second quarter was that impactful. I mean, you talk about Tom Brady and all the things that he does, and you leave him, 15, 20 seconds in a period like that? That could be disaster for you.
Correct.
Fortunately for us, they didn't have any timeouts, and Tom didn't go into his TB12 magic bag and sprinkle some pixie dust on us and score at the end of the first half. But that's your man, right? You that's what he does. And so we left a lot out there. And it's just every game now has began to be an event of its own. Like we got a watermelon kick. It's just things that are starting to happen. And I think this is just who Mike McCarthy is. I mean, we got a riverboat run. I don't know what nickname we're going to give Coach Mike. So right now, he's just doing a lot of things within his scheme and dealing with time that I don't think that a lot of NFL head coaches would do. And that's been his MO. He's been doing it for a while now, and at some point it's going to catch up, or it's going to win him a championship.
I feel like a good I love that reference, but you're right. A good special teams unit needs to – it doesn't have to even make plays. It just has to make – it just has to –
DYJ, do your job.
That's the best way to say it.
Yeah.
It's almost like an umpire in baseball. It's like you don't want to remember the umpire's name at the end of a baseball game
DYJ.
because that means they didn't do their job the right way.
It's not glorious. You're glorified within the special teams room. You're glorified within your team because those guys understand the impact that you have, right? When you go down there on kickoff and you tackle those guys inside the 20-yard line, and your offense is coming, your defense is coming out there, you give your guys a high five. Like, they understand how important
it's a thankless job.
It's a thankless job. I mean, on the outside it is, right? Unless you have a big return or something like that. But interior-wise, on the team, guys are respected because you understand how much of an impact they have on the game. Field of possession matters. Mm-hmm. It freaking matters. Now, we start talking about some of these quarterbacks we're going up against. It matters, right? Whether those guys get the ball inside the 25 or whether they get the ball on the 40.
It matters.
It matters.
You saying Bones is like Jonah Hill and Superbad?
Yes, that is who. Do it.
Mike is like Michael Cera. I mean, it's
You still look like Jimmy's brother.
Another great movie. I don't think Mike just, is hearing Bones in his ear and just saying, "Oh yeah, whatever you say." I think Mike has a tendency to be aggressive too and take chance. Like Mike throughout his career, going on fourth down, he'll do that. So I think they both have that kind of mentality. They were so banged up last year that I think they felt like they had to do some of that smoke and mirrors stuff. But John is known for doing that no matter what. But I think maybe you can do it a little less this year than last year. We'll see. But yeah, the kick before the halftime was surprising. The last play of the game, I mean, they ran a special teams play. They didn't put Dak out there for the throw.
Yeah, did you see that?
So I was a little surprised.
We didn't get to talk about that.
Michael Parsons snapped the ball.
Yeah. And Leighton Vander Esch was the up back. And then who was the first one with the carry? Was it Pollard?
Maybe.
I can't remember who it was. It was kind of
Pollard was the quarterback.
He was the quarterback. Okay.
I guess from the distance they were from, they just didn't think,
Don't want to stretch it with Dak's arm.
But maybe not. But Dak, man. That was I was surprised by that. But hey.
Yeah. We'll talk a little bit about that tomorrow. But tomorrow we're going to take a lot of fan calls because we've got an extra day of a show before we start previewing the Cowboys and the Chargers coming up later this week. So we're going to take a lot of fan calls, have a ton of conversation tomorrow. But that's going to do it for us here on this Monday edition of Talkin Cowboys. Special thanks to everybody who's stuck with us here over the last 45 minutes. For Chris Beam in the back, Rob Phillips, Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison, I'm Kyle Yeomans. We'll see you tomorrow on Talkin Cowboys presented by Tostitos.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!